Welcome back again. Walter here. I did a little bit more reading through this book, and it was laid out pretty darn good as to the types of tools you need and when you need them. So I'm going to go down through the contents real briefly, and you'll see how the author laid these out and how they might apply to us. So, the ways of felling a tree. So we're looking at axes, possibly a two-man crosscut saw. Then went to splitting. We talked about that with the froe and wedges. And then we talked about some sort of a workbench, whether it be a sit-down workbench or your stand-up workbench. So the workbench is a tool. So it is a tool. So it has to be on the list. And from the workbench, he went to sawing. So that's interesting because you would need some sort of support structure in order to cut the wood to make your workbench, unless the first simple workbench was a half of a log. Okay, you take a log, you split it open, you create a flat face. Then you take your axe and you make that as flat as you possibly can. Then you take a boring tool, an auger, and you drill 4 holes in it and you stick 4 legs in it. So there was no saw required at all to make that first bench. So then you could saw on that bench other things to build other things. That's my thinking anyway. From there, he talks about hewing. Hewing being a form of axe work that would give you a more or less straight, flat, and true surface. From hewing, he mentions boring. Well, some of these are interchangeable in the position you need them in. So boring, page 122. I'm sure he goes through all the different types of boring, from a simple brad awl, or what we call a birdcage awl, to a pump drill, to a T-handled auger, to a bow drill, and then the different types of bits, all the way on up until they came up with the brace and bit. How to sharpen them. Okay, so boring, then chiseling, and then shaping. So in shaping, you could have your draw knife and your spoke shave, um, anything that you could use to create shapes. And then, only then, does he come in and mention planing. And then after planing, he mentions wood turning and then miscellaneous things in the back. So it's pretty much in the order of as need. And that was a viewer comment as well, that you buy the tool or you make the tool you need next. Very simple. In under planing, that and shaping, in those two areas, that's where you would see the introduction of molding planes, anything that creates a profile, and so on and so forth. Now, I don't know about you, but years ago, when I would read a book, I would usually keep a notepad nearby, or if I had a thought on a certain topic, I would put a note in my book. So in this one, I have two. One goes into calculations on board feet of lumber and cost. So back then, and I have the phone number for a lumber company I guess I was dealing with back then, but I create myself a little grid, and we talked about the dimensions of lumber, 1x2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 12, how much board footage is in each one, and then at 30 cents a board foot, what it would cost, at 35 cents, what it would cost. So I was working on something, but I couldn't tell you exactly what after 40 some odd years. I've had this book more than 40 years, probably closer to 45 years. And then I have another note which is referencing a company by the name of Frick, F-R-I-C-K, which if some of you know, there used to be a sawmill company would make Frick sawmills and edgers. And I have prices of edgers with 4 blades, $2,500, another one for $6,800, which was 32 inches wide, and it had a 4-cycle Wisconsin engine. I had that note here too. So it's always fun to find these little special treats in your books. So there you go, just a little supplemental, but he seems to be following my thought process of what you need first, second, third. Found anything helpful here? Give it the old thumbs up, like, subscribe, and share, and come on back for more videos in the future. Walter out.